Hello, everyone. Good morning. It's Greg here at Flowering Spikes. And today I wanted to talk about Michael Rabin's The Magic Bow, conducted by Leonard Slatkin and the Hollywood Bowl Orchestra on Capitol Records. This record right here is a 1960 stereo first press. I also have a 1962 second pressing and a Testament reissue. And first, I just want to say how much I love Michael Rabin's playing and how tragic his early death was. Apparently, he suffered from some sort of neurological disorder and had seizures of some sort. And they say he fell out of his apartment and hit his head and died. He was only, I believe, 36 at the time and just right in his prime. And I just think it's such a shame that one of the most talented players we've ever had died right at that time, because we could have had so many more recordings from him that I'm sure would have been amazing. And, people have been debating this for decades as to who the greatest violinist ever was, or how you could even quantify that or make such a discretion or a description. I think everyone pretty much understands that Heifetz was the most virtuosic, aggressive player that has ever existed, along with Kogan. But for me and my sensitivities, I really, really love Michael Rabin's playing. It seems like he had 98% of Heifetz's virtuosity, but he also had a lyricism and a poeticism and a tenderness to his playing. And I really think he was the best of both of those worlds. He's not overly syrupy and romantic, and he's not just very angular and virtuosic, but really just such a perfect melding of the two concepts. And this record in particular the repertoire is nice. It's not the most advanced, greatest music you will ever hear in your life. There are very short pieces. There are a couple pieces on here which actually I don't love, but his playing is just so beautiful that it really makes it worthwhile. And when I first had the idea to make this video, my friend Max came over to my house and we were listening to some records. And we put on this record right here, the original source, Abbado Stravinsky, Le Sacre du Printemps. And, just cranked it, just blasted it. The, house was shaking. And if you've seen my video about this, you know that I think it is a sonic marvel, and I do love the performance, but it's just so hot and so loud and so bombastic. And then I decided to put on, I didn't actually have this first press at the time, I had the second press, and we put on the second pressing of The Magic Bow, and just instantly the air in the whole listening room was just breathed. There was a warmth and a relaxation and a tubey quality to it, and just a really beautiful, warm, rich, organic sound, which was the complete opposite of the original source record. And we kind of just looked at each other and laughed. The difference was so incredible. And, this has long been an audiophile favorite, and I'm sure it's on every classical record collector's short list of best sounding records ever. And it definitely, for sure, is one of the best sounding records ever recorded, especially the violin tone. There are some Decca Ricci recordings. There's, of course, the Living Stereo Heifetz recordings, where the violin tone is really pronounced and beautiful and front and center. But there's something about this recording where it just sounds like a violin. It's just, I don't know how else to explain it. It just sounds so real. It sounds so wooden. You can hear the wood, you can hear the strings. And so I have these three versions of the record, and I just wanted to really quickly give you my thoughts on the three, because it's rare probably that anyone would really have all three where you could just like spin them back to back. And the other day in the shop, my good friend Michael Muller was here also, and we listened to all three. And so myself, Michael, Max, we all had the exact same opinion about the recordings. So, this is not just my biased opinion or anything. I mean, not that I'm, above giving a biased opinion, but so first of all, so let me just say the other day, we were in here, me and Michael, and we were listening, and then I said, hey, let me play you these records. And I started out with this one, which is the Testament reissue. Sounds really nice. If you never heard these two records, you only had the Testament, you would be fine with that, And I didn't tell him, and he thought it sounded really nice, and I think it does sound really nice, actually. And so we listened to it, and then I put on the first pressing, which again is this one here. And just immediately, he was just like, whoa, that is so much better sounding, And it's just more three-dimensional. It's just more alive. It sings with a realness and an organic quality. And like I said before, like it just sounds very wooden. I can hear the wood vibrating on this recording. And so then I was sort of joking around. I was like, well, because this record, the Testament is like a $30 record, maybe $35 record, and I said, kind of joking, does this record sound $470 better than the Testament? And he gave me a really straight and serious answer, and he said, no, it sounds about $150 better than that one. So, which brings me to this 1962 Capitol Stereo second pressing of the record, which I can hear very, very minute differences in it, like almost inaudible though, really, if I'm honest about it. And this one would probably be $150 more than the first one. And, I'm not even 100% positive if you did a double blind test on me, like would I be able to pick out the 1960 from the 1962? I'm not 100% positive. I mean, I think I could, but I don't know. Maybe someone will come by the shop and go back there and play the records so that I don't know what they are. So, I don't want to get too much into the history of it or any of these pieces. It's just a very simple, kind of fun, light shootout comparison. If you can only find the second pressing, it's killer. It's incredible sounding. The first pressing, I do think sounds better. It's a little more three-dimensional, if you know what I mean. It has a little more depth, a little more air around the whole performance. But really, as far as just greatest violin tones ever laid to tape, this recording has got to be in the top 5 at least, maybe top 3 of just stunning, beautiful violin that you can feel in your body through the speakers. It's just incredible. And, I'm always on the hunt to find the original recordings. I'll just show these records really quick. These are all Testament reissues, and this is Rabin doing the Paganini concertos. This is Rabin, this is mono, doing the Glazunov and the Paganini concertos. Originally was a Columbia SAX. This one, Mosaics Volume 2. This is also a Testament. And then I have this one. I've never heard this one. Just kind of funny, right? Like I have this record, I've never heard it. This is Rabin with the Mendelssohn Violin Concerto on Testament. I've never heard it because it's sealed and I just never opened it. And it really makes me want to find those in their original forms and hear them. And I wonder if the contrast is as immediate and definite as it is with the Capitol recordings. Anyone knows where I can get the originals, let me know. I'll buy them, I'll do the next shootouts. So anyhow, stay tuned for the website drop. There's some other comparisons coming up where I probably will go more in depth and in detail about how I feel about the musical performances, because it won't just be 3 recordings of the same record, but rather different interpretations of pieces. And those are coming soon. That's it. Have a great day, evening, whatever you're doing. Bye-bye.